what I wanted to do today was make an enemy, which I did make a prefab of. Oop, if we just pop them down. It's basically just a copy of the villager for now, just with different sprites. And I actually used something quite cool. So if you guys remember from my previous stream, when we did animation controllers, we made the one for the knight character. Well, now I've made one for the ninja, but it's what's called an override. So it uses an animation controller as a base, so it uses the knight one. And then you just define the override animations. So it just overrides all the exact same states with its own animation. If actually I click there. Look, they're all there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's apparently a block. He crouches when he wins because it's a ninja and that's what they do. Now I had to pretty much make that death animation because it doesn't have one. Got the hurt animation. We have 2 idols? No. We just started on idle. And then we've got this run animation for when they're moving. They're all the same. All the same animations, pretty much. But it uses the villager script, which is not really a villager. But the villager and the ninja are going to use the same kind of stuff. So, the villager, the player of the villagers and the enemies are going to have some similar logic. So, we are going to sort of try and define that. So firstly, we are going to make a character script. And we may actually go to full programming. If we slide character over, what we're going to do is take all the information out of this that is specific to any kind of character and leave the stuff that's specifically villager or player stuff in that code. He's doing some polymorphism, making children. I'm sure you guys are going to love that. We are going to start tidying this up. Firstly, probably going to do that. Get rid of the stuff I don't need. Now, all of these characters are going to have animations and sprite renderers. So, they're going to go in there. Rigid body as well, because it's going to be moving around with physics. Now, at the moment, the way I'm seeing it is the combat is just going to happen where enemies just run in from the side. So there's going to be no wait timer. And for now, probably not text. Maybe down the line, bosses will have like a text. But those will leave. So naturally, again, villager state is going to stay there. Because villager... not the villager, it's just going to be a generic character. Movement variables definitely going to be moved across. Because yeah, we want them to be able to move and face in particular directions. Speed helps calculate how fast they move. Closest vector is how close they have to be before they're considered at a location. So wander settings, again, that is specifically with villagers, so we'll leave that there. Alive is going to definitely be a character thing. And we also, although we've called it player stats, that is going to be character stuff. So probably rename that to core stats. And actually, let's move alive there as well. So yeah, their health, their armor class, level maybe not, because I don't know if the enemies will have level. Back over here, we will have a header for specifically player stats. Sweet. And then got a target X, which is the target position, right? What I'm using it as. Yeah, so we're gonna take that out as well. Because we need that. We'll change the summary slightly. So target X position for character is aiming to reach. We'll move in relevant direction to get to target. Turn is to do with combat, so we definitely want that in there. And then events and stuff. Oh, that is also all going to be generic character things, because they're going to be involved in combat too. What we're also going to do now is start copying these functions over. So move awake over. And it's not going to know about those two pieces, but it will get references for that. And what we also need to start doing is calling things virtual. Now, is it that way round, or is it the other way? Yeah, virtual. Void. So when I say it's virtual, already virtual, it's digital. Aha! It means it can be overridden, basically. Virtual abstract members cannot be private. Yeah, so now I have to make that an internal one, so it actually likes it. And then we should do as well is actually say that this derives from character. And then this is going to be an internal override void awake. I'm just going to do base.awake. Hopefully, if I can spell. And I can. We're good. So how this works is you make a character. The awake function will be called when it needs to, and all this will be done. When you make a villager, it will call this version of awake, where it does the base awake stuff. And then on top of that, it does its relevant pieces. So it's kind of splitting the logic again. So you don't need to touch that code and start. Probably at some point consider removing it if I don't want to. Yeah. And then initialize. That is probably, again, that is something we're going to want to make as a virtual. So internal virtual void. Could just copy it. Like so. So we'd probably still do the name thing in here. The name text is going to be just in here. And the random spawn. Delete that stuff. And then internal override void. Yeah. That there. Oh, we want it to actually do base dot init. Underscore name, random spawn. Hey, that's what I want you to do. And underscore sort order. All gonna be sent through, and it's gonna set the text object. It's also then gonna randomly decide a spawn location if that's what it wants to do. And we ain't gonna do that. Maybe we would do that actually in the vert. I feel like we would. Not for now. We'll leave it out. Can always change it. That's the joy of programming. Okay. Working our way down the list. So, again, virtual or virtual override void. Spell virtual correctly, Rusty. Nope, I've got it the wrong way around. This is to be virtual. And that is override. That. And just spell virtual correctly as well. It's generally a good idea. Okay, so the alive function is 100% an aspect of any character, so that moves across. Then the villager state is not. But the logic of fighting is in there, so maybe villager state gets changed to become something different. So character state for now. Then we may, down the line, split and make a villager state that's separate. Right, if we're going to do that, though. Get Visual Studio to rename it in all instances for me. And then we're going to move villager state to here. Right, so that is now a character state. And when I rename that there, actually what we should do is name it here. Character state. And then it will rename it. And then I'll move it across. Looks like I'm holding the fort. Yes, Monkey Man. You have great responsibility today. Please do not abuse. Nah, you're a good boy. I don't think you will. It's just Japes. Maybe I would wonder. Characters. I don't know. If they would, you know. Right, paste that update. Stick that in there. Okay. We'll move it over for the most part. Yeah, I'm not too sure yet. So they will be able to move to target at least. Yeah, or delete wandering. From there. Now. And then waiting as well. Delete. Can't decide. Can't decide. It's difficult when there's... It's still lacking parts and pieces, so I'm just trying to not overdo it. We'll just move on, basically. Although it's going to be empty for the time being. We'll have something there. Just to signify, like, the baseline of how a fighting thing would work. Animation logic. Right at the bottom. Update function. So then we are going to delete the bit that's already in use. Don't need to do that in there. The character specifically has wandering logic and waiting logic, and then it's got its own fighting logic. So update the physics, which allows us to move them at speed and set their speed. The dual start, that is specifically, for now, villager, but attack. Attacked by roll to hit damage or roll initiative. Choose location, look, and face direction. All of that is generic, kind of like core code. So I should cut all of that. Bar attack. Although, probably don't need that region anymore. There's just the one thing for the villager. So, collision is just the logic for flipping. Logic for choosing the facing direction. So you want to look in a direction. Choose location. So, internal virtual void. Nope. That. And then we are going to copy this. And then assume base level. That's all they want to do. And then back on the villager, it's going to have an internal override. Use location. And then this might not work. It might have a compiler error for this, but we'll try it. Maybe you like it. Oh wait. Wants me to have the region combat methods. Attack is inaccessible. Made it private for some reason. No. These ones I should really make protected. The ones I've been making internal. Same with villager. Protected. 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 Maybe not in it. In it needs to be internal. Because it's pulled by other things. It's wildly making things protect. Right, where were we? So it's pretty good. So the villager has a variation of choose location where if you give it the value of 0, it just gives them a random one, which is part of the wandering logic. Otherwise, it does the basic choosing location logic. So that, based on the fact that there are no errors, suggests that we're good. That it should be fine. When we go back to Unity, it's probably going to take a second. And it's not going to like what we did on the villager. Still a villager script. The values didn't actually change, which is good. And then on the enemy, it's still a villager, but we will just add now a character script to that. Well, if we let me, I should be able to copy and then paste as values. No, it won't let me. Anything that is adjusted, so we'll set the closeness factor to 0.25. And I think, yeah, we'll let it be a little bit faster. I think that's based on its walk cycle, so if we delete villager now. And then... oh, it doesn't want to do that at all. Okay, character. Just move this up the list of components. I'll keep going. Now those are just the default values. So yeah, let's move that to 4. Closeness factor 0.25. And then we delete that. So that should work. that should work. We just delete these two. Double check. I haven't broken anything. They still work. So, what we're going to do is commit all of that. Say, made base character class. Character class for villagers and enemies to derive from. Nice and simple, easy peasy stuff.